treatment of modern cooking techniques. The idea is to explain the science of cooking and the techniques and provide examples. As a result, it's hard to summarize it in a single phrase, but it is trying to both explain how and why and what to do in this modern cooking techniques. And for us, modernist techniques includes a whole variety of things. It's both cooking with modern techniques to a traditional aesthetic. It's also about cooking to a very non-traditional aesthetic, either one. Here's just a few fun facts, 2,438 pages, 1.1 million words. If you put that as a single line of text, it would be 7.5 miles long. I'm not sure why you'd want to do that, but you kind of think that's cool. We took 147,000 pictures, and 3,200 of them were good. Lots of recipes. We have recipes from 72 chefs around the world that contributed to the book. In fact, most of the knowledge of the book wasn't developed by us. It was developed by food scientists or chefs around the world. But it was remarkably inaccessible. And I realized that when I tried to learn all of it myself. Stephen Shaw is here in the front row. E-Gullet was a central part of which he is the founder of. Central part of this, I tried to learn a bunch of these techniques via E-Gullet, got a lot of help, but also realized how hard it was. Let's put all this stuff into one place. We had 6 research cooks, 44 writers, editors, and art staff. My favorite statistic is coming up, 4 pounds of meat. Unbelievable, but true. Here's some pictures of some of the team, and it was about 4.5 years ago I wrote the first outline for the book, and it's remarkably similar to what we produced. I was just off by a factor of 4 in the size. As I say, it took a team. Most of the team has been with us about 3 years. So it's about 3 years of solid work to create the book, and here's a few shots of the making of. It's a big book. Besides the 5 hardcover volumes, we have the kitchen manual, which is spiral bound on synthetic waterproof paper. So you dig in the kitchen and get it dirty. A lot of people ask, okay, when I say 4 pounds of ink, why any ink? Why don't you do it all electronic? Well, there's 2 reasons for that. One reason is that we had to decide on our first platform for the book over 2 years ago. There was no iPad. Kindle was out, but Kindle, although I love my Kindle, there's a picture of a Kindle against one of our pages. It's black and white, and it's really tiny. But even the iPad pales in comparison to the reproduction that you can get there. So in the fullness of time, we'll have an electronic version, but that'll be a lot of work, and I wouldn't expect that anytime soon. For now, strange as it seems for me, a kind of a digital guy to say, a physical paper book was the best way we could get the quality of photos, the quality of content to the audience that we want to get it to. The printing is really cool. That's what this is about. This is what a typical art book would have. This is a technique called stochastic screening that we use. We use special wide gamut inks. This is what one of our photos would look like with conventional inks. The gray part is stuff that can't be reproduced because it's a color the ink can't do. This is what it looks like with the inks in the book. One of the ideas there, people have asked me why we lavished as much effort on things like that, which probably made the book a little bit more expensive. And our belief is that quality actually matters in all aspects. If you go to Per Se or Danielle, the silverware is nice. Okay? Now, if you had paper plates and plastic forks, the food would be the same. The experience would be different. So we really thought it was worth putting the quality in. Here's an example of one of the tables in the book. We have a chapter on gels. I'll get to that in a little bit. But for us, gels aren't just modernist gels, things like you'd find at WD-50, although we have a number of recipes of gels from WD-50. Gels also include custard. So when you make custard, you dilute egg with a liquid. And this axis here has the dilution. This has the temperature. Well, if you put in less egg, but you heat it up higher, you can get the same temperature. So for example, for classic omelet texture, it goes across all of these. Firm omelet is there. Soft scrambled is in the places it's in. One side is whole egg, the other side is egg yolk. Now, We call it modernist cuisine, but in fact, the modernist aspect is in part an attitude. An attitude that we should do those experiments and give you a reference. Escoffier could have made this table. There's no ingredient here apart from milk and egg. There's no technology apart from a thermometer. But by doing this kind of effort, and there's a bunch of effort to do it, we thought it would provide a reference guide for people who wanted to use it as a point of departure in their own cuisine.